Hey bestie, welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to be tackling a question that's very near and dear to my heart. Should I get rid of my speech impediment? If you don't know who I am, my name is Cody, and I suffer from a condition called roitism. It's the inability to pronounce the letter O. The reason I have the condition is complicated and nuanced, and another video. I was adopted from Russia when I was 3.5, and at that point I knew Russian. English is my second language, and as such, there were some developmental issues that came around with that, including my speech impediment. I was in speech therapy for several years in elementary school. I remember being pulled out of my class and walking down the hall and then being in this room with a bunch of other disabled kids being told to repeat the same words over and over and over again. I was even tricked a little bit. My speech pathologist asked me to remember 4 words, and she set it up as a memory test, which I have a pretty good memory, or at least I did. And I was destined to remember those words. I was like, I know I can't give you anything else you want from me, but I can remember these words. And they were red dress, brown hamburger. Remember them to this day. Every time I walked into the class, she would ask me for the 4 words. I would give them to her and she would just write down some stuff. Even years later, after I wasn't even in speech therapy, I would repeat those words to her whenever I saw her in the hallway. Now, in retrospect, I understand that she was just trying to test if I got better with those words, which I assume that I did, because ultimately I was deemed good enough to leave speech therapy, but it's still slightly embarrassing thinking that I was so proud of showing off the fact that I had not achieved what I needed to. Throughout my elementary school, middle school years, high school years, I was bullied back and forth a little bit, but for the most part, it was pretty chill. Due to the fact that I don't really let people be mean to me. I'm very smart and very confident. I come from a confident, well-educated family, and so I did not let that slide. Anytime someone came at me with a joke about my speech, I had to clap back about whatever they were insecure about at the time. Condescension did become a defense at one point, but it's actually surprising. I tended to get a lot more friends than foes, and my biggest ops were often the teachers. The smallest case, I had the substitute teacher once. Her name was Mrs. Rodriguez. I rose my hand and I was like, hey, Mrs. Rodriguez, can I go to the bathroom? And she was like, why are you pronouncing my name that way? And I was like, oh, I'm just saying it how I can, Mrs. Rodriguez. And she was like, no, pronounce my name right. And I was like, Mrs. Rodriguez. She was like, no. And another kid in my class had to raise their hand and go, Mrs. Rodriguez, that's just how Cody talks. And it was really embarrassing, but it's also unnecessary. Like, live and let live, girl. In my Spanish 3 class, we had to do oral presentations. My teacher had already previously gotten mad at me because during our family oral presentation, I talked about Miss Mamas because I have 2 moms. And she was like, no, you only have 1 mom. And I was like, no, I objectively have 2. And she was like, And she was a very heavy Catholic woman, and it was clear that she was pretty not okay with that. And it made me uncomfortable in the class. A couple weeks later, we had another oral presentation, and this was supposed to be about a family member who had passed. And I was talking about my grandpa. And when I got to the word for dead, it's like Murio, something like that, I couldn't pronounce it. And she made me repeat it over and over and over in front of the class. And she had me do it like 20 times. And at the end, I was like, I can't say it. Take off the points if you need to, but I have to keep going. And she got mad at me. Ultimately, my parents ended up talking with her, and she didn't work at the school the next year. But it's stuff like that that really got under my skin. Because I was fine if someone my own age had something to say, because I could fight back pretty easily. But when it was a person in power, that power injustice really made me uncomfortable, because I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. It's out of my control. And it has been. I can't pronounce R's to a satisfactory level even now. But that doesn't change the fact that I tried. I went to therapy. I did my best. I tried. And people, even nowadays, will meet me on the street and be like, but why didn't you go to therapy? I'm like, what makes you think I didn't? It's so frustrating, because they'll be like, this is the solution. Why didn't you think about it? I'm like, I have been living in this way for ages. You don't think I know what speech therapy is? My condition is rooted in many things: critical period, a learning disability, just overall my inability in general. And it's frustrating. But that takes me to the point that I'm here to make. Should I fix it? quote unquote. The thing about speech therapy is you educate a student to the best of their ability and hopefully to a point where they can be comprehended when they speak. You've been watching me speak, you've been watching me articulate, and you've understood what I said. Largely because I dodge a lot of words that I can't pronounce. My language, my diction, and my word usage has spiraled. I've almost become a thesaurus of words that I can use in replace of the ones that I can't pronounce. It's helped with my writing, it's helped with my poetry, but it's also a product of my inability. And there are a couple positives to having a speech impediment. I mean, I do get a bit more attention than your average male because people think it's cute or people ask me where I'm from, and that's sometimes a good icebreaker. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but largely I found that most people are kind and they're inquisitive and they're curious and they want to know. And if I tell them this is just something I struggle with, but doesn't define my intelligence or my overall intellect, my ability, most people don't have an issue. And why would they? It's not a problem with them. A lot of people act like it's something that I can easily fix because they had speech therapy. I'm like, you were also not adopted from a foreign nation. English isn't your second language. You didn't move across the world during your critical period. I feel like there was largely a lack of empathy when it comes to conditions that people can't understand. Aw, wah, woy, where, wool. I can't, for the life of me, pronounce those correctly. And it's hard to wrap your head around it, I'm sure. In my mind, it doesn't come out the way that it does on film. When I watch this back and edit it, I heal myself in a way that I don't heal myself internally. It's a bit of a mind fuck, but at the end of the day, what does it matter? The question, am I going to fix my speech impediment? I wonder what is there to fix? You've been able to understand what I've been saying. You hopefully can attach yourself to the emotions that I'm conveying with what I say. I'm not malicious. I haven't done anything to deserve this. I try my best. I find joy in things. I have articulate introspection. I make observations. I add to conversations. I just can't pronounce the little O every now and then. And to the best of my ability, I don't use it. So the question is, will I fix my speech impediment? There is nothing to fix. I would not be going back to speech therapy. I will not be cutting my tongue off. People will be like, it's a tongue tie. I'm like, no, it's not. If it was, it would have been solved ages ago. My thing is, if you have a brother, a friend, a colleague who has a speech impediment, be kind. At the end of the day, it takes nothing to show kindness. You simply don't even have to open your mouth if there's nothing kind to say. Mocking, belittling, it all tends to be a manifestation of some kind of insecurity. I had people tell people that I was faking my speech impediment for popularity. I'm like, do you know how much hate I get? It's not worth it. So thanks for watching this video. My goal is to be posting about 2 a week. Feel free to like and subscribe, check out my other socials, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.